Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Tag Talk. I'm Kiley, this is Haley, and this is going to be a bit of a, I don't even know, kind of episode, chaotic.
Yeah.
I am very sick, and my brain is offline entirely, but I still wanted to come and film Tag Talk because it was AEW's Toronto debut. I was super excited to film this episode of Tag Talk. So once again, Haley and I are kind of matching with our shirts unintentionally. So I think that's a good omen for how this episode is going to go.
We never planned this. Literally, I just showed up and here we were. So, you know.
I guess it's just, we're just the same person. We're just soulmates.
We're a tag team. It's Tag Talk.
Speaking of women's tag teams, I was super excited about this, so I want to start with it. There's a women's tag team match on Dynamite, of course. They got like 10 minutes. Great. But Shida pinned Britt Baker.
Yeah.
I was super excited about it.
I wasn't expecting that. I'm so happy that Shida is being put kind of in the spotlight again. I feel like, you know, she is one of the women's champions that I feel like doesn't get her due. She carried AEW through the pandemic. And then she just kind of dropped off TV. She had the feud with Serena Deeb, and then she was off doing other things. So I'm super happy to see her back, and I'm super happy that she pinned Britt.
I know. I think that's big. And I was talking about this with someone else a couple of days ago, but they haven't mentioned Thunder Rosa in a long time. And Toni Storm is still the interim champion. But if Thunder Rosa isn't going to be back soon, I almost wish that they would just make her the official world champ. Because I feel like all these feuds she's having would mean so much more if she was like the real world champ. And I think eventually down the line, because this was such a big win for Shida, I think we're going to see more of Shida. And I think we might see her in the title picture again. But overall, it's like a tag team match. This was good. Jamie Hayter's so over.
I can't wait for them to pull the plug on Jamie Hayter. But I also feel like Toni's reign so far has been really good. I feel like they're booking her not like an interim champion, like a world champion, like very like Mox style. I love that she just kind of comes out and has these matches every week. I think she's had, 10 so far?
Yeah.
Great. Love it. We love women.
Another thing I was super excited about, and this is kind of something that is controversial for some reason, I don't really get it, is WarJoe. Like, some people hate WarJoe. I love this. I thought this match was good. I think they're really entertaining. And this is something good for Wardlow. And a lot of people, they're like, I don't like, two singles guys smushed together to be a tag team without a reason. I don't like Wardlow's TNT champ. I don't like him as a singles champ being in a tag team, blah, blah, blah. I like WarJoe.
I'm conflicted. I love them, but I'm also, like, I want more for Wardlow right now. I feel like his reign as TNT champion has been a little lackluster. I want him to have, like, a real hard-hitting feud, and maybe we're getting there. I hope so. But, it's fun. It's fun TV. I can't complain.
And I think them having, and after the match, we did see the return of Shawn Spears, which I was super excited about. No one else really understood why I was so excited, but I was. Yeah. I was so excited to see him. It's like we have the Pinnacle, but they're the Pinnacle with, like, Samoa Joe. Yeah. Like, there's no MJF. It's just Samoa Joe.
What is the new MJF?
It's so funny because when the Pinnacle first became a thing, and we joked about this a lot, but they look like a family. Like, they all look like they're brothers or cousins. Like, they have the same face. Yeah. And we still kind of have that with Samoa Joe. He still kind of looks like that. I just love it. I love FTR too. I thought FTR looked really great on Rampage.
Yeah, I did too. And speaking of Rampage, we got a little surprise debut at the end with the Kingdom. Mm-hmm. How'd you feel about that?
I think we've talked about this the last couple weeks. I'm really excited to see AEW doing things that how do I phrase this like delicately? Debuts or, you know, character changes and new stories, like refreshing things that aren't necessarily like main event stuff, you know what I mean? Like we had the debuts like last year of, you know, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, and then it was like for months we kept having these big like main event level guys debut. But I really like building blocks. And to me that's what this was. I don't think anyone could really argue that this was a bad debut or a bad choice.
They tried.
I know. I'm just so confused by that. I think this was like, I think Tony Khan is in a space where he realizes that AEW fans really want these like sentimental debuts, or even like they want people that they can grow with as, you know, as fans. We saw it with the Acclaimed, of course, and Swerve versus Daddy Ass was great. I don't care what anyone says. Anyway, back to the Kingdom. I think I like the Kingdom. And I like that AEW fans are now going to be exposed to something new. And, you know, I don't know what the plan is, of course, creatively. But I thought it was a good Rampage. I thought it was a good debut.
I thought it was good, too. I don't understand why people were complaining. And I feel like more than anything, they're probably trying to flesh out the Ring of Honor roster. And I think with reports that, you know, Tony and Maria had talks of her working in the Ring of Honor women's division again. You know, I think that's great. And I think there's no harm done with this. And if they don't go the Ring of Honor route, I'm wondering if, since Bobby Fish is no longer and Kyle O'Reilly, you know, is injured, I'm wondering if this is going to be Adam Cole's like new stable to go against the Elite again.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think they might have to do a little bit to really get that story across, because AEW fans have proven that they know absolutely nothing about anything prior to like 2018, but that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. We'll educate you here in Time Talk, but 100%. I don't know, Adam Cole, the fact that he's gone so long with this concussion scares me. The fact that the Elite, there's seemingly like no movement on the suspension front. Like, I mean, Hangman Page sort of mentioned them in his promo this week with Mox, but he didn't say like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
But like we knew.
Of course we did. And, you know, I don't want to say the Elite are returning soon because I have no idea. And I know a lot of the people who watch this are big fans of the Elite, and I don't want to like get people's hopes up. But like personally, I don't see how this investigation is going on for so long. Like, what are we doing? It's been like 6 weeks, and I don't really understand what else there is to look into. But anyway, I don't want to harp on the Elite for that long. But I do think there's a lot of people like on the indies, but also in like smaller promotions who have great history with the Young Bucks and with the Elite. And I would like to see Tony Khan really play with that more, because he kind of did with Adam Cole and like the Undisputed Elite thing, but like they never did much with it from like a history standpoint. They never talked about the murder. They never really, they kind of talked about like that they've been friends for a long time, but with like the Ring of Honor library they have, I want Tony Khan to do more with that. And I do think Ring of Honor TV is coming soon, especially with Chris Jericho unfortunately being world champion, FTR being on TV more. So I don't know. I would like to see Tony Khan do anything with any of this.
Yeah, you know, I feel like even with key components of AEW out, they're still flourishing right now, and I think that they're doing the best with what they have, and everybody's stepping up, and it's been really good, and I just hope that continues. But I think with these new moving parts that we're seeing, we're gonna be good.
So, also the Canada debut, we also had Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah.
making their return from like, I don't even remember the last time we saw them. Because I know Butcher had his band, and then his band disbanded or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I like Butcher and the Blade. I like the way they wrestle and the way they work together. And their original debut in AEW kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really halted their momentum. And I think fans didn't really want to invest in them. But, like, they got a great reception in Toronto. And I would really like to see Tony Khan, like, try to carry that into subsequent Dynamites. Because I think Butcher and the Blade could do a lot for the tag division, especially with, like, the giant Young Bucks-sized hole. You have the Young Bucks, they're gone on suspension. Proud and Powerful is gone because poor Santana is, like, horribly injured. So, like, Butcher and the Blade can easily slot into that spot. And I don't know what Tony Khan's doing with them.
I know. And the most exciting part, the Bunny's back. I'm super excited to see her back. I love seeing her with Butcher and Blade, and I love that she always kind of gets involved a little bit in the matches. So I hope they definitely do more with Butcher and Blade. I know I've said in the past that I would love to see them kind of take up in the House of Black, or the House of whatever. If that's still a thing, we don't know. But yeah, I would love to see more of them on TV.
Yeah, with Penelope Ford off doing whatever it is they're doing with this Britt Baker Saraya thing, I think it would be cool to see the Bunny and Julia Hart. Like she could take Penelope's spot in that. I don't know how they would form that relationship. I really don't know, but I just think there's such an opportunity there with Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny. I think they're like edgy. I think they're cool. I think women like them. I think men like them. I don't know anyone who could sit and say they despise Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny.
Yeah, and I feel like they're kind of a little bit rougher on the edges, like not super like AEW. Like when you look at them, like they don't scream AEW, but that's what I love about them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
not like cookie cutter type of
wrestling. Like they really stand out, and I think wrestling wise, like their in the ring stuff, I think they stand out from every other tag team in AEW. They wrestle so uniquely, and I think Blade in particular is really underrated just because he's so athletic. And when people talk about like the most athletic wrestlers in AEW, he never gets brought up because it's people like Nick Jackson, Sammy Guevara, like these guys who do these flashy things. But I don't know. I think Butcher and the Blade is underrated. And we're going to start a movement.
I was literally just about to say our campaign. Butcher and the Blade on TV more.
This is the hill we die on. Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny on TV.
Listen, it's a hill I would happily die on. So.
And if they have more time to do stuff now, I don't know what else they have going on. I know Blade has a podcast. I don't know what else they have, but listen, they're cool. And one time, where was I? I was in Las Vegas. And
Las Vegas.
I walked into some casino. I don't remember what casino it was, but the Butcher and some other people, I don't know who they were. They were walking out as I was walking in, and he was wearing his hair and two little braided pigtails. And I'm just going to say that changed my perception of him forever. I love that man.
I love that so much. First of all, I love when we bring out Storytime with Kiley. I feel like it really rivals like Storytime with Adam Cole, baby. Like,
I'm coming for his gimmick. That's what this is.
Oop, gimmick infringement.
I have no Adam Cole stories. I have a sort of Adam Cole story at All Out last year, so 2021. Like people were thinking he was going to debut, and they were blaring his song, like the Undisputed Era song, in the parking lot. So we like lined up to go into All Out kind of early because we wanted to go to merch or something. I don't remember. Anyway, so we were there for like an hour in the line, and it was Adam Cole's Undisputed Era theme song on repeat for almost the entire hour. They played Daniel Bryan's WWE theme song once, but it was all Adam Cole.
Love that. I love that. I feel like everybody expected that Adam was going to be there, but like to have the double debut, listen, you just can't recreate that moment. It was so good.
You really can't. It was so good. I really felt my soul leave my body for a minute. Like, I was not sure what to do. I had the same feeling when Mox debuted. Yeah. And I was like, the camera like went to Mox, and I felt like my soul leave my body. Listen, the people know what I'm talking about here. I'm emotional.
If you guys have seen that like SpongeBob meme where he like ascends,
yes,
like, and he ascends, that's Kylie.
I would take that meme and put it on Twitter, and then everyone.
Yes, we're gonna tweet it. Yes. Yeah.
I also wanted to bring up Private Party because we didn't talk about Private Party before this episode, but I wanted to bring them up just because Private Party's been on TV a lot.
And we have been saying, look, we need more Private Party. Tony, thank you for listening. Keep it up. We love Private Party.
I'm not sure how I feel about this Matt Hardy story. Like, I don't think I like the firm. I don't know. It's just so bizarre to me, the idea of the firm. It's very old school wrestling, which I understand Tony likes. It's like when managers, had the role of being like kayfabe actual managers, like in other sports. But I don't know. The firm, it's like they're so linked to MJF, but like not in a good way. Like it makes them look like dorks. Like MJF's little henchman that he abuses because he's like a toxic CEO. And Private Party Matt Hardy, I don't have a problem with. Hardy Party. But and here I go trying to phrase this delicately again. I feel like Private Party needs to be, by now, it's 2022, they're like AEW OGs. They should be above Matt Hardy by this point, in my opinion. Not in terms of like overall legacy or whatever, because few people are going to surpass the Hardys. But I think Private Party, they beat the Young Bucks, like at the opening of the World Tag Team Tournament, whatever it was. And then they had like some momentum, but then they got stuck in the Hardy family office, which then became the Andrade family office, which was even worse. Uh-huh. And now they're mixed up with the Geek Squad in the firm. And it's not even really about them. It's about Matt Hardy.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I feel like Matt Hardy definitely holds them back. And I love the Hardys. We both love the Hardys. But I think we can all agree that they need a push.
Yes. They
need to sever ties. And I hope that's where we're going. We'll see.
And I did like when Matt Hardy was their mentor. It was like during the pandemic era. And I thought that was really cool because Matt Hardy debuted during the pandemic era and like fans couldn't really get behind the broken Matt thing because there was no crowds and it was just weird. And like the teleport thing, that was really weird. But like, and I, at that point in time, I was like, okay, Private Party, like being hooked up with this legend, like this is going to be big for Private Party, but it wasn't. And I think overall, with the exception of like the Hardy Boys reunion, Matt Hardy himself has really struggled to find his footing in AEW. Like the Hardy family office, like we just talked about Butcher and the Blade, like Butcher and the Blade and Private Party probably deserved a lot more than that. Like if you look at Chris Jericho's factions, I think for the most part, a lot of the people end up better out of like coming out of those factions. Like their status is elevated, and the Hardy family office didn't do that. And then the Andrade, it was Andrade family office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In the middle, it was the Andrade Hardy family office, and then he bought him out. That did the same thing. That was so annoying. And now they're doing it with the firm too. It's a bunch of guys who I think are super talented, and I think they could really thrive. But now they're lumped into the firm, and Stokely's great, but Ethan Page is great too.
Oh, Ethan Page.
And I don't know how he ended up here, like when this team of absolute nerds. And I love them all. Don't get me wrong, but I think we can agree that Ethan Page is a more polished performer and wrestler than a lot of these guys, and he didn't need this. And now Matt Hardy's there, and Private Party is seemingly going to be there, and I don't know what we're doing here. All the good steps we've taken in the AEW tag division in the last 6 weeks since the Elite suspension, they seem for nothing because we're falling into the same traps over and over and over again. And if Butcher and the Blade don't get a push, then it's the same tag division it always was, just the Young Bucks aren't there.
I agree. I hope that the Butcher and the Blade being on TV wasn't just a one-off because they were in Canada. Mm-hmm. But I hope they do get the push. I hope that they get a tag title shot. I think that would be great for them. We need to start setting up some feuds with the Acclaimed as well. Yeah.
I think, and I love the Acclaimed, and I think their run has been really great so far. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand why they're feuding with Swerve. And I don't know. Well, like, all three of them are just feuding with Swerve. Like, there's no Keith Lee. And now Smart Mark Sterling is here, stealing their intellectual property. And I don't understand that. And I don't know. Like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on the Acclaimed because I'm so excited for the Acclaimed. But, like, we got to do something that isn't this. Like, I said I did like Daddy Ass versus Swerve, and I did. I thought it was a cool match. And I think it's cool that, Billy Gunn wrestles so well at, like, however old he is, 60, mm-hmm. 65, whatever it is. But, like, why is it just Swerve?
And I feel like I have to phrase this delicately as well. Because I love the Acclaimed, let me just say. But I feel like I thought that Swerve was finally getting, like, a singles push. And they were going to, like, sever the ties with Swerve and Our Glory. I was like, okay, like, this is going to be great. Like, they can feud and, like, whatever. But, like, here we are. It doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused.
And they're not really building the Acclaimed for a legitimate, like, title program for Full Gear. And, Full Gear is still a ways out. I understand it's like a month. But they're stuck in the Swerve thing. Like, Swerve beats Daddy Ass.
Yeah.
And now what? It's going to be Swerve and Our Glory is going to, like, reunite because they proved that they could beat Billy Gunn. Like, I don't understand. And then Smart Mark Sterling is stealing the Scissor Me, which is, like, their biggest thing. And I understand that the fans are just going to chant it more. It's going to be like Judas, which Chris Jericho not letting the fans sing Judas on the first show in Toronto. I hated that. Anyway, back to the Acclaimed. Like, I'm not worried yet. I'm not. But, like, there's a little tiny, tiny part of me that's, like, seeing patterns of behavior we did with Jurassic Express. And I'm like, can AEW do something with these young tag teams that isn't making them look like amateurs?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm worried they're doing with the Acclaimed. Like, Jurassic Express was never as over as the Acclaimed is right now. I think that's fair to say. I think few tag teams in AEW have been as over as the Acclaimed are right now. But, like, Tony, sit down and reflect on your life for a moment and realize what you're doing.
And, like, not having Keith Lee on TV,
mm-hmm.
Why? I thought Swerve and Our Glory, I think Swerve and Our Glory is one of the best tag teams that they have. I really like them. But I don't know. I thought we were finally getting a Swerve singles push. I really did. What are we doing?
So did I. Like, when he showed up, I think it was during the Acclaimed, like, celebration, the National
mm-hmm.
Scissoring Day, and he showed up. I was like, okay, this is, like, his thing. He's gonna, beat up the Acclaimed and, like, go on a singles push or whatever. And I don't know what Keith Lee is doing. I don't know if he's off doing something. I really don't know. But if there's no Swerve in Our Glory, why are they just putting Swerve on TV by himself to carry a tag feud when he could be feuding in a singles feud with anyone else on this 5 bajillion person roster?
Literally. I mean, like, imagine building him up to be in a title program with Mox.
And
or Hangman, whatever, whatever happens.
This Mox Hangman thing, I love it. I thought I was a little hesitant because when it's like babyface versus babyface, like I'm always hesitant because I feel like wrestling promotions rarely do it right or do it justice. But this I think is going very well. I think both Mox and Hangman look super credible, and they're like their point of view. I think fans resonate with both of them a lot, so I'm super excited for it. But like with the absence of the Elite, specifically Kenny Omega, like you would think that they would see someone like Swerve and make him a single star, especially if Keith Lee is off TV for what I don't know if it's his choice. I don't know if it's AEW's choice. I don't know what's going on. But like instead, he's wrestling Daddy Ass in a tag feud with the Acclaimed. It's weird. And now he's rubbing elbows with Smart Mark Sterling, who tried to get Swerve kicked out of AEW.
And like we're above this, okay? Like like we really are. I'm not saying that Swerve is like above, the Acclaimed or anything like that, but I think that he's above teaming with Mark Sterling. It makes him look like a joke, in my opinion. Swerve is not a joke.
He's not, and I don't understand what's going on. And I get that they want all these, Smart Mark Sterling, Tony Nese, the Embassy. They want all of them on TV for when Ring of Honor goes to TV, and I get it. I'm assuming Smart Mark Sterling and Tony Nese are going to ROH. I don't know. But, like, give them someone else. Like, 2.0. Like, Smart Mark messing with 2.0 would be so good. And we wouldn't have to worry about the Acclaimed, Daddy Ass, and Swerve, and potentially Keith Lee being mixed up with Tony Nese. I have no idea what the dynamic here is. I have no idea who's friends with who and who hates who. I just don't like any of it.
I don't either. I'm very confused. I don't know what we're doing. Like you said, as soon as we start taking like steps in the right direction for the tag division and just in general, we start going like 5 steps backwards. And
And Blackpool Combat Club, they're like teaming again. Like on Rampage, we had Moxley and Claudio. But like Blackpool Combat Club as like a unit, they're just kind of, it's like everyone and like William Regal like takes them to class. Like he like walks them like a parent, but like they're not a unit like a faction should be. And it's like even the Firm is more of a faction, quote, like a bonded faction than Blackpool Combat Club.
I know.
And they're having these tag matches, and yes, they're great because it's, Danielson, it's Mox, it's Claudio. But like, what's going on there? Like Mox is in this world title picture. I get it. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot. But like Blackpool Combat Club was like this new hot thing, and when it was for
so
like
over.
Loved it. And when Claudio joined, and we had the Blood and Guts, and they beat up Chris Jericho, and people loved it. That was like so cool. And now it's like they're teaming on Rampage against Butcher the Blade, which we love Butcher the Blade, but like they're not building the faction more. The Daniel Garcia thing like fizzled out because it was like, will he, won't he, for too long, and I think fans lost interest. And if spoiler alert for AEW this week, Daniel Garcia decided he was in with JAS, at least for now. So whatever, bad choice, man. Anyway, we're just floating. We're back in a holding pattern in AEW like we were when Kenny Omega was gone the first time. And now Kenny Omega is gone this time. And Tony Khan's like, you know what worked? Holding pattern. Everyone stop where you are. And we're just going to keep going with everything we've already done.
It's like when we were talking about how the trios division was kind of in this space. Like, I feel that's just how AEW is, and it stinks.
And going back to your point about the trios division, hello, holding pattern.
Oh, speaking of, why aren't they defending the title on TV? Like, what are we doing with that? Hello?
We saw the Dark Order
Yeah.
Shout out to Stu Grayson.
Oh, I popped. I was so happy to see that.
And like, okay, so we're giving attention to the Dark Order. Okay. Shouldn't they be trios champions?
Yeah. And I think that's where we're headed and like where it's gonna go. But like, how many times do they have to lose a match, a title match, an important match, before they just get titles? Like, what are we doing?
And it's so mind-boggling because they give them like not just the trios division, but like when Evil Uno got a TNT title shot, and people are like, "Whoa, Evil Uno can really wrestle," and then Evil Uno got nothing out of that. And 10 does something impressive, and they're like, "Yo, 10!" Like you could totally tell why Brody Lee picked him, and then 10 gets nothing. And Johnny Hungy has consistently been one of the most over guys, not just in the Dark Order, but like in all of AEW. Like his reactions, he gets them everywhere. And they're like, "Oh, Johnny Hungy, go take a pin."
Yeah.
I'm like,
and Reynolds is so good. Yeah. I feel like he's so underrated in AEW. What are we doing? Dark Order is OG at this point.
yes.
And it just feels like such a slap in the face sometimes. What are we doing? They had such a high point with Brody, and then, you know, R.I.P. Brody. All of that happened, and it started fizzling out, and it really sucks. I feel like they had an opportunity to keep it going and still, you know, be really good. I really like the Dark Order. But right now I feel like a lot of people are tired of them. And that's sad.
Yeah. And a lot of Dark Order's appeal was being the elite, and I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why you couldn't do silly skits like they did on BTE and just put them on Dynamite or Rampage.
Yeah.
And you could have kept Dark Order relevant and fresh. I've said it before, I think they should have won the trios belts, but also Orange Cassidy beat Pac. So Pac is now just a trios champion, despite seemingly almost turning heel and then not turning heel. So don't know what they're doing with the trios division. So love that for us.
Well, we are getting the best friends again. Going after the trios again. Are they gonna win this time? Listen, it's like the Dark Order. Like, it's just a cycle. Like, it's best friends in the Dark Order, just tossing it back and forth until one of them wins.
And why?
I know.
Look back at the trios tournament and tell me if you when the trios bracket was introduced and people were like, "Yo, look at these matchups." Compare that to where we are now. At this point, I really don't care if they bring back Will Ospreay. I would be like, "Cool, off the open."
Come back.
I'd be like, "Yo, off the open, so cool." It's not best friends again.
Good. I don't care. I'll say it. I like them.
They're not necessarily like my kind of wrestlers. That I really like personalities, and I think Will Ospreay is a strong personality, but like the other two, I don't vibe with them on that level. But they are very talented. But like we have the Embassy doing things. Brian Cage is once again the least important person in a faction where he's positioned to be the most important
faction.
He's getting put in these factions and he's positioned as the star, but everyone like looks behind him and finds the cool people behind him, like Ricky Starks and Hobbs, and now it's Toliona and Khan, and people are like, "Yo, I want that guy, not this dude."
I know.
So Brian Cage, I guess, is ROH, but like he's getting all this TV time, and I really don't know why we're not, one, doing something with the Acclaimed, and two, doing something with Death Triangle.
I know.
It's like everyone talks all the time about how there's too many titles in AEW, and that AEW needs to stop introducing titles. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because the most interesting stories in AEW, for the most part, are non-title stories.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because the titles mean nothing. And Tony Khan doesn't care about the titles. He cares about who's over.
Yeah. And that's why I've like really taken a back seat on saying that women's tag titles should be introduced. I think that can wait a very long time.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it would kind of have to be an AEW ROH collaboration, I think. It does feel like nowadays women's tag titles are like a necessity in wrestling, and you have to get there at a certain point, especially with like how great Impact has been with it. Not going to talk about WWE because I have issues there with what they're doing. But I think AEW will get there eventually, but I would like to see it be a thing where like talent can cross over between AEW and ROH. Just because I think you get more fresh matchups that way. And we saw it with FTR. Like FTR is champions of like everywhere. And they like all these cool dream matches or like really cool matches they're doing. It's because they can cross over because they're champs of like everywhere. So I would like to see that. And I think because the AEW women's division is so small, like if you had an AEW women's division and a separate ROH women's division, which I don't even know if they're going to go that far, but I think you would have more tag teams. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah, I'm just a little apprehensive because I feel like we just talked about, we're already not focusing on the titles that we have, especially the trios. Like, they're the most recent titles that you have and introduced.
Holding pattern. They waited for Kenny Omega, and now they're waiting for Kenny Omega again.
And same. What? Listen, I sat. I don't want to get off track, but I sat there for the Canada debut, and I texted Kiley, and I was like, "Listen, I have a feeling in my gut that Kenny's coming back. I don't know why, but I was like, I can just feel it. Like, I know he's gonna show up." And I sat there for 2 hours waiting.
She was like, "Should I go to bed or should I stay up for Kenny?"
I was like, I'm so depressed. Like, I was really having a bad day. And I was like, you know what? If Kenny shows up, like, it's going to turn my day around. And I sat there and I watched that whole show and he didn't show up. And then I texted her and I said, Rampage isn't recorded tonight, right? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, it's not live. And she was like, no, I think it's recorded tomorrow, Thursday. And I was like, oh, shoot. And we didn't get Kenny again.
Listen, I think it is a global tragedy that Kenny Omega missed Forbidden Door and then missed AEW's Canada debut. And they were talking about Chris Jericho as like this Winnipeg icon. And I was like,
I had the opportunity.
Kenny Omega is right there. They're from the same city. I don't know how PR investigations are conducted. I really don't. That's not my world. But the fact that it's been 6 weeks and by all reports, AEW has not had contact with CM Punk, Ace Steel, or the Elite about this issue. Why? And also, why is it taking so long? There's apparently so many witnesses, and now Brandon Cutler's already back. Michael Nakazawa is back. Everyone who wasn't like directly involved is back. So to me, that says they have some understanding of what happened. And so I don't know why. Maybe
it's there was the lawsuit, whoever is threatening.
Yeah, there was that report. I don't remember who it was. Dave Meltzer, maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna assign this to Dave Meltzer if it wasn't him. But
somebody said
that there was an individual holding up the investigation, and then we have like Conan on his show, his podcast, who said he wanted Kenny Omega to do a video for the AAA show that was last night, and Kenny couldn't because of the investigation. So the investigation is still open somehow. AW, you're telling me your lawyers are so bad that one person threatening a lawsuit brings the entire promotion to a halt.
You know, I think that's the thing here. It's like you need better lawyers. Tony, listen, buddy, you have so much money. Like, please get better lawyers. Please get an HR team, PR team. Like, stop handling everything yourself. You don't have to. Okay? I know you're not listening, but listen, just this one time. Please.
It's seriously so, I'm so baffled by it. Because, okay, one person is threatening a lawsuit. I don't know who it is, but we can all make a guess. One person is threatening a lawsuit. And Tony Khan, I guess, wants to keep this person. Don't know how that's going to work out. Anyway, and, you know, you can't fire him because wrongful termination, blah, blah, blah. But, like, 6 weeks. What have your lawyers been doing for 6 weeks? There's not 1,000 interviews to conduct. There's not, you know, 1,000 hours of like security cam footage to comb through. So what is happening? It cannot be as simple as this person is wanting to sue AEW or this other person or whoever, and I want them to stay in AEW. So I'm just going to pretend like this isn't an issue.
It's look, we love the Elite, and we were really mad and upset when everything happened, and you know, they were part of it. They, you know, had to get investigated, like, you know, but then all the reports started coming out about everything going on, and you know, I miss them. I really want them back, and I think we're getting to a point where we need them back.
And it's
a bit.
And it's so funny to me when we were waiting for trios titles. It was like Death Triangle versus House of Black on repeat. Mm-hmm. And now Death Triangle versus Best Friends and Dark Order on repeat. And I don't know if Tony Khan lacks creative energy to book a promotion that has lost, you know, 4 of its biggest storytellers in CM Punk and the Elite. I don't know if Tony Khan just like doesn't care. I don't know, but there's something going on with Tony Khan and the way he's writing this show. And I understand there's other people now who have input because he established this structure of communication, which failed already twice. But there's issues here, structural issues. And it really sucks that, you know, the product is suffering. And it really sucks when I go on Twitter and I see fans who are like, AEW has been like my safe haven for 3 years. And now I'm not even excited to see Dynamite anymore. That sucks.
Yeah. It's really upsetting. I know a lot of people don't like the Elite, and a lot of people are in the same position with CM Punk. A lot of people love all of these guys. And I've noticed it a lot. People being upset, not wanting to watch, aren't watching, are falling out of their love with wrestling. That absolutely sucks. So, and I get it. We get it. So,
I don't know where AEW goes from here. I'm really excited about WarJoe. I'm really excited about Shawn Spears being back.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about Shida. There's like good things going on.
Yeah.
But it does feel like there's this like looming cloud of this horrible investigation that is seemingly never ending.
And it's holding them back.
Yes. I was like realistically, if you look at like other big companies, not just in wrestling, but in general, and they have incidents like this, does it really take this long with seemingly no end in sight? Like, maybe someone watching this is like an HR professional. I can let us know.
Let us know, please.
But like 6 weeks to talk to, like, there's 5 people involved. And I guess if you want to count the lawyer. Like, I don't understand. And also, why was MJF there? We have not heard about that.
I think when everything came out, that was the most random thing, but I love it so much. Like, I could just picture him just there.
Listen, someone needs to ask him. MJF does an interview. Someone needs to ask him, why were you in CM Punk's locker room?
He's not going to answer it.
Someone find out. I'm so curious. Listen, I'll pay you. I don't have any money. But I've just been thinking about that since it happened. Why was MJF there? To talk to CM Punk, maybe. No. Because they were supposed to feud. And listen, I think what MJF is doing now is better than what he would have done in a CM Punk feud. Sorry. We're almost at the end of the episode, and that's my hot take. I'm going to say it. I'm bearing it at the end of this episode. But I think MJF looming over Mox and Hangman, I think it's way better. Sorry.
I do wish that they wouldn't have cut to him as much. Like, I feel like one good cut towards like the end of it to be like, oh, he's up there, not just like keep going back and forth. But I did love like him eating the popcorn. Like, that was so great. Like, love MJF so much.
So, Haley, what are your closing thoughts, and where can the people find you?
My closing thoughts. Push Butcher and the Blade, push Private Party. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at Haley_, to see everything that I'm doing, including my wrestling writing and stuff. I just started up a Substack where I'm going to put like features and stuff. And that's on my Twitter. It's my pinned tweet. So you guys can check that out and subscribe. It's free. Yeah.
My closing thought is that we reached a peak in tag team wrestling a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And now we're in a valley across the world.
And there's always peaks and valleys, but you got to overcome them.
Yeah, it just sucks that we had Kenny Omega for 3 weeks and he was gone again. But anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Fuller_Kiley. I post everything I'm doing there. I'm super sick right now. I can't remember if I have anything coming up, but it'll be on my Twitter if I do. Also, WarJoe is cool, and I'm not going to apologize for thinking that. Oh, also, oh my God, like this video, comment below, subscribe to Fightful Overbooked. Go watch all the other shows. There's so many great people on Fightful Overbooked. Yeah.
I think we hit everything.
Okay, bye. We'll see you guys next week.